Rise up, GG Nation, because it's time for Guidance Guy Friday, your weekly guidance lesson from your internet school counselor. And all week we've been jamming to rock your school week. RYS is a time for schools to bring learning to another level. And if your school isn't in on the fun, I put a link to the Rock Your School website in the description below so that everyone can pump up the learning. And to end Rock Your School, I want to talk about someone who's more than a musician, more than a songwriter. We're talking about one of the greatest music moguls of all time, a visionary who built the foundation of a generation of music whose influence we still feel today. We're talking about the musical pioneer and business genius, Berry Gordy. But before we do, be sure to strum that subscribe button and don't be largo in liking this video. Let's go! It's guidance time.
My goal was to have people write what they feel and reflect the truth.
Berry Gordy III was born on November 28, 1929 in Detroit, Michigan. And even though he was the seventh of 8 siblings, he wanted to stand out. Though his best work is in the music industry, his journey actually didn't start there. In fact, his first career was as a boxer. Yup, before he was penning tunes, he was throwing hands in the ring. We're talking real Eye of the Tiger Rocky stuff. Oh, hope you're not getting tired of this music gag we got going, because right now, I feel like Captain America.
I can do this all day.
And he continued to box until the Korean War started in the 50s, where Gordy served in the army for 3 years. But even through all that, BG loved music.
I love music.
Even though he never got official lessons in music, he could play the piano and the clarinet. And once he left the army, his music life began. Though it didn't just happen. Empires aren't built in a day. He started out with a record store where... Yeah, I'm gonna have to explain this one, aren't I? Okay, so back in the day, people used record albums to listen to music. Think of them as giant CDs. And if I have to explain what CDs are, I'ma cry. He had a record store, which unfortunately didn't last long. But because he needed that money... He also worked at a Ford car plant back in Detroit, but he continued to refine his craft in his spare time, writing songs and eventually making songs for 50s greats Etta James and Jackie Wilson. This side gig led to hits for Etta and Jackie, like All I Could Do Was Cry and Lonely Teardrops. This allowed Berry to leave the car factory and create one of his own, a musical hit factory. With an incredible eye for talent, he saw the potential in a singer named Smokey Robinson and his group The Miracles and started producing music for them. Not only did this lead to Gordy finding his best friend in Smokey, it also led to the founding of his music label, Tamla Records, or as it would later be known as, Motown.
That was one of the reasons that I decided to do music for all people, because I figured we're all the same. There's more sameness in all of us than there are differences.
Motown is more than just a record label. It's the birthplace of a musical revolution.
The revolution will not be televised, brother.
During the 50s and 60s, it was very difficult for Black American artists to make a name for themselves. Getting clubs that wanted to hear your music could be a challenge. Finding radio stations that felt comfortable playing your tunes across the country could be a battle. For every legend like Nat King Cole, there were dozens of others who either never had the bread to get their name out there or had their style and even their songs stolen from them by others just to claim it as their own. For the record, that's called plagiarism, GG Nation, aka cheating. But Motown broke through the shameless hate and disrespect by creating a musical style that was as unique as a fingerprint, a beautiful fusion of gospel, jazz, rock and roll, and R&B. Berry Gordy perfected what was later called the Motown sound and used it to dominate the charts in the music world. Now, because he was a songwriter and businessman, you might have never heard of him before today. But I'm sure you know these names: The Temptations, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross and the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. These acts cemented Gordy's vision for Motown and made a mark in music that could never be copied or ignored. Songs like I Want You Back, Stop in the Name of Love, and Ain't No Mountain High Enough became the soundtrack of a generation during the 60s and 70s. And Berry didn't stop there. Over time, BG made the move to movies where films like The Wiz and Mahogany, the latter of which he directed himself, gave America new options at the theaters. And with all these wins, you better believe he brought home some hardware. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, has an honorary doctorate from the University of Michigan, earned the National Medal of Arts, and much more. And I can hear some of you in the back. What are we supposed to take from all of this? Ha! You have no idea.
You said an assembly line. What does that mean? You ran Motown like an assembly line.
Well, I then thought, because I was a music lover and a writer, that if I started a company, so a kid can come in one door, an unknown, and out another door, a star.
It takes a certain kind of someone to put the right words together that transform a song into an earworm. When directing a movie, you must be able to see many little details all at the same time to see how they all work together. And just like what Gordy did, we could do that in our own lives. We must remember that details are the secret sauce to success. It's the details that make the difference between having the right answer to a math problem and showing your growth, and just having the right answer but not showing your work. The details can turn a basic essay into a riveting story. The details can make the difference between victory and defeat. We cannot sweat the details in our work. When we do that, it can lead to cutting corners, silly mistakes, and ultimately a mid-effort. Don't be mid when you can be excellent. Don't settle for good enough when you know you can be great. And getting the details right rarely happens the first time. Be resilient and don't give up. Learn from your mistakes and get better. And remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's your best effort. Gordy's career is a testament to the importance of making sure the details matter. Now the question is, what will you do with the little details in your life? Welcome back to the Character Corner, where today we're going to take a look at someone, actually a whole group of somebodies, who like Gordy paid great attention to the details. And you see them around your school every day. I'm talking about your custodians. Our custodians do the literal dirty work to make sure that the place that we learn and work every day is at its peak. It's not an easy job when you have to be the first person to show up at school at 5 or 6 in the morning, or cleaning up when accidents happen. For real, these men and women should have your appreciation and respect for everything they do. And actually, you have a chance to show them some love on October 2nd. Next Wednesday is National Custodian Day, so be sure to take that day to make your custodian smile. Write a card, draw a picture, or if you have time, make sure your whole class is super clean that day to make their life a little easier. Our custodians help us in ways we don't even see, so be sure to make them feel seen next Wednesday. But for now, it's time for you to return to the classroom. Just be sure to do the YouTube thing on your way out. Until next time, GG Nation, Guidance Guy out.